Hello, everybody. So the title of the video is "What is a Saint?" I'm going to give you a clear, common sense definition. In fact, two definitions of what a saint is in different theological contexts. Starting with the Roman Catholic view of a saint, um, which is basically a canonized individual who has been beatified by the church. They are, of course, then venerated as saints and prayed to, and often revered to people, seen as people that we can possibly learn from, in the sense they've lived a sanctified life. That's their definition, and how we know, or how they know that they're sanctified, is they have to go through rigorous research and investigation before they canonize any person. It can take hundreds of years after they die, and part of the criteria is they have to have at least two subscribed miracles to their name. Interestingly enough, I found out recently the two miracles that qualified Mother Teresa as a saint, Saint Teresa of Calcutta, were actually achieved after she died. So there was a person who was in a coma, and their loved one prayed for intercession through Mother Teresa, and miraculously the person was healed. And there was another incident where there was a surgeon, and the person that was in care had a miraculous medal which had Teresa on it, and apparently the surgeon touched the medal. This was before he was about to conduct the operation, and the person miraculously healed. So they've been canonized since saints since the day dot, really. I mean, even like the church father saints, like people like, I don't know, Augustine or Ignatius, people like that, Justin the Martyr, they wouldn't have been canonized until the papacy started to fully establish itself. So they were kind of late to the party. I think really they started canonizing like officially from sort of the year 800 onwards. But obviously they did canonize church fathers, which is interesting because not all the church fathers had miracles to their name. So I'm guessing it's changed somewhat down the line. It certainly appears that the criteria is getting much harder for saints. With the Byzantine Eastern Orthodox Church, they too have saints, and they see them pretty much the same way as Catholics. The difference is there doesn't have to be miracles ascribed to their name, and they don't have to go through a veneration, a beatification process. So an Orthodox Church have a consensus on who's a saint and who isn't, and then they just stick to that. Anglicans and Lutherans, yeah, they too have saints. You often see their churches named after them. And what they tend to do is choose people that are pre-Reformation, that the Roman Catholic Church have already canonized, and they too qualify as saints in their tradition, which is quite interesting because some low Anglican churches don't really care too much about saints. They certainly don't have feast days and things like that for them. But I think they see it almost like a hall of fame where, it's nice to celebrate 2,000 years of Christianity and have figures through the centuries just to show the church has still been living and existing and, evangelizing. So I think that's probably why they do it. But anyway, that's that discussion said. Like I said, there's two definitions. So the second definition is the biblical definition of the word saint. I had to literally on the Bible app type in the word saint to see how many times it's been mentioned throughout the Bible, and it's actually incredible. Even in the Old Testament, it's in there. And but what I discovered with the Old Testament use of the word is slightly different. So when they use it in the Old Testament, they're referring to people that have already passed away, like prophets and people like that. Which is fascinating because it explains why the Catholic Church don't have Old Testament saints, because they feel that it's not their duty to uphold them as saints because they're already said to be saints in Scripture. Um, and obviously, when Christ resurrected, was crucified, he went down into Hades for up to 3 days, where he released a lot of the saints that were stuck there in Sheol, on the way back up. So that Sheol is like the resting place. And so yeah, so I think that's the reason why they don't venerate them. But going back to the Bible, it's the New Testament definition of the word saint is very, very different. So I was reading, Paul uses the word a lot in particular, and when you read the context when he's using it, he does mean living people that are around at that time. So these are basically the sanctified members of the church, because often when he would finish his letters, he would say farewell and offer a Holy Chris, with the Benedictine prayer, and he would say to the saints and to the elders and whoever, and so he would never specify who they were, but you can only guess that every church has sanctified people that are living like the Christian way, the holy way. So I can only imagine he was meaning those people, but I think he also said it in a way to keep people thinking, oh, am I a saint? To give them that ambition and aspiration to work their way up to that. So yeah, so the definition in the New Testament, it appears to be mostly living people that are sanctified. But I think there are some references where there are people that have also gone on, that have been sanctified just before they've died and are now in heaven. For example, in Hebrews 1, it talks about the great crowd of witness, and the word of saints used prior to that, and also in the book of Revelation it talks about the bowls of the saint, the prayers of the saints that are in a bowl. So yeah, so there's certainly some statements that refer to alive and dead people. But you will get a lot of modern evangelical churches that are quite comfortable with calling people saints. Fellow members. It's seen as a very flattering thing to say to somebody. But some evangelicals will have an issue with it because it kind of like presupposes that person's saved, and not everyone's confident with that. So it can be a little bit complacent. But anyway, yeah. So they're the two definitions of the word saint. So yeah, I hope you're happy with the video. Give it a thumbs up if you like it and if you've learned something from it. If there's anything I said that's off, put it on the comment below. But yeah, this is what saints are. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? Just to think about, when we use the word saint, what the real deep, profound meaning of that word is. And now we know. And just to reiterate, the Catholic and Orthodox Church still believe we have saints on earth. They don't just think they're the people that are passed and are up in heaven. They do, but they just choose not to define anyone as a saint, because salvation in Catholicism is something you work towards till the day you die. So yeah, it's anyway. Thank you. Take care and goodbye.